So I went for my MRI yesterday to see if they can figure out what fingers are. Hopefully the neurologist will...
Oh, we are on.
Sorry.
Ready to go, Tom.
I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Summers Board of Selectmen. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We're here in the auditorium. The meeting is being live streamed. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for roll call tonight, we have Brian Wistinger, our CFO, Kim LaFleur, our Ops Director, Todd Rowland, our Public Works and Land Use Director. Presenters are Jen Roy and Brad Pellissier. Brad's here, right? As well as Matt Cox from Jen Roy, of course, from Land Use. Matt Cox from Human Services, Dave McCaffrey and Sherry Markey from the Veterans Affairs, as well as staff and residents. I'm not going to have everybody, of course, but you're all out there. Okay, public comment. Do we have any this evening?
Is it some further out there?
Don't believe so. Presentation by First Selectman. A couple things I'd like to mention before the awards are presented. First of all, I went to a resident trooper meeting last Thursday, the 9th of October, with Kim LaFleur. We went to Willimantic. I'm Kim Littig, I'm sure.
That's okay.
We went to Willimantic.
I don't remember.
Kim Littig's our of course, police administrator. We went to Willimantic. It was hosted by the Lieutenant Colonel, number 2 guy in the state, troopers, and there were probably 8 towns involved. And their main reason for having the meeting was to better communicate with the communities that have resident troopers and to answer any questions that people had. But what I realized from the meeting was that, number one, we seem to do things pretty well in this town, and we don't have the kind of problems that some of these other towns do. And I found out that Stafford has 4 resident troopers.
Really?
Yeah, do the math on what that costs. And so, but the good news was, I think what we've got is a pretty good system here in Summers, and it's working very well. We don't have any problems. So that's the good news. That's what I got from that meeting, at least. We had a Board of Finance meeting last evening. You had unanimous support for the salary survey and with recommendations presented to the Board of Finance by the Board of Selectmen.
That's good. I'm glad
Unanimous
to hear that.
support, and so it's passed. Goes into effect January 1.
So I hope you guys who work for the town appreciate the salary increases. Thank Brian over here. He deserves a big pat on the back.
Yeah, Brian did a great job putting the final product together. It was initiated by both of the HR specialists the town had on board for several months, each one. I'd also like to mention that the Summers Connect has been put in mailboxes today. So it's a 16-page report. Should have some interesting information for everybody.
Okay.
And drug take-back is scheduled for 10 to 1 p.m. on October 25th at the Summers Fire Department. Appreciate you doing that. That's all I have. I'd like to, the presentations by myself. We can start with, let's see. Yeah, we're going to start off with the Robert B. Koski Award. So possibly Deputy Chief Allard, we just step forward. You can sit down, that's fine. That's good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Good looking cap.
Yeah, you look great.
Wired seat for you.
First of all, I'd like to say what the award is. This award is presented annually. It's a community service award. It's in memory of Bob Perkosky, who served for many years as the town clerk and as first selectman, and gave unselfishly of his time in order to improve the lives of the citizens of Somers in the state of Connecticut. This award is presented annually by the Board of Selectmen to deserving citizens who exemplify the ideals of character, integrity, service, kindness, and unselfishness to their fellow citizens and to the town of Somers. It was established in December of 1996. So, for the record, Deputy Chief Keith Allard has been a member of the Somers Fire Department since he joined on his 16th birthday in October of 1982, following his father, who also served as lieutenant. Over more than 4 decades of dedicated service, Keith has risen through the ranks from engineer to lieutenant, captain, and ultimately deputy chief, earning the respect and admiration of those who have served alongside him. Throughout his career, Deputy Chief Allard has become known as for his steady leadership, tactical expertise, and calm decision-making under pressure. He exemplifies the type of leader who brings confidence to every scene and stability to every challenge. His quiet professionalism and deep understanding of the job make him a trusted voice in the firehouse and on the fire ground alike. Above all, Deputy Chief Allard's service represents the best of Somers Fire Department, a blend of humility, dedication, and genuine care for the community. His decades of commitment stand as a model for all who wear the uniform. Congratulations.
Over there.
Here by the flag.
Yeah, go over there.
I'm going to turn around this way. Now, right now, we're getting this good side.
Yeah.
We'll stand here for the mugshot. Go ahead.
I'm gonna get a picture of all you guys.
Bring your picture all over.
I'm gonna get this chair.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on. Come on, we can push that. There you go. Get in there, Pat. Cheese.
Cheeseburger.
I'm just kidding. Very nice. Very nice, Jen. I got a great shot. Thank you. Huh? That's all right. Thank you.
I don't have the write-up. It is right here. Yeah, I got it.
It's got the brick right there. Don't want to crap there.
Thank you. Good to see your doctor.
Congratulations.
No, he's going to get the award. So the next award I have to report on is the Adolph P. Anderson Quality Employee Award. This was in memory of Adolph Anderson, who served for 37 years as the superintendent of public works and provided many long hours of quality service to the citizens of Summers while ensuring that the roads remained clear of snow, parks were maintained for recreation, and all public works projects were completed in a quality manner. The award is presented annually by the Board of Selectmen to a deserving town employee who has provided high-quality, passionate, and unselfish service to all citizens throughout the town of Summers. So this year we're presenting the award to Matthew Cox.
Hot seat now.
The hot seat.
It's been wired.
So Matthew has consistently demonstrated professionalism, kindness, and compassion. He's led the Department of Human Services with integrity and dedication, building a strong team that works together effectively to serve the Summers community. Matthew has guided the town through some incredibly difficult tragedies with the utmost respect, empathy, and care. His ability to remain composed and compassionate during such times reflects his exceptional character and commitment to others. Beyond crisis response, he has developed and implemented programs that have had a lasting positive impact on residents across all ages and needs. Matthew exemplifies the values this award honors. His performance regularly surpasses expectations. His positive attitude matches his strong work ethic, and his leadership motivates both his staff and peers. For these reasons, Matthew Cox deserves a recognition as the 225 recipient of the Adolph P. Anderson Quality Employee Award.
Very good. Yeah, very nice. Very well sewed.
Much here again, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh yes. Yeah, hang it up in your office over there, sir.
All right.
Yep.
Come on in. There we go.
Okay.
On group picture. Woohoo! You guys look great. Wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations.
Hold on with the pages. I knew it.
I'll cut your shoes out, Ariana. Don't worry.
Appreciate it.
You go right in here.
Well, you're
There you go.
Come on now.
good luck.
Just break the camera.
Oh, Joe's. Very nice. Say cheese. She did. Thank you so much, guys.
Phone's still not broken, huh?
Still playing. Like,
That's the good stuff.
So under the consent agenda, boards and commissions, we have no appointments or resignations. Opportunity to add urgent agenda items. I don't think I have any of those either. Not this evening. Thank you. The finance transfers and appropriations, we have none. CFO's finance report and update.
Just one quick thing. Our Vision, our reval company, emailed us today that the townwide revaluation project is complete, and sent us over the results. So there was an 18% increase on commercial and industrial properties in town, a 44% increase on residential properties in town, and a 44% increase on special use properties, which is all of our PA 490, our farm, forest, open space, and so forth. So it's an overall increase of the total grand list of 36%. Yeah,
That's good.
quite the growth.
It's more than expected, I assume.
It is. We were estimating conservatively about 20%. I told the Board of Finance on Tuesday before I had the numbers that conservatively I was thinking 20%. Aggressively I was thinking 30 to 40.
you got 36%,
so we hit
you said?
36%.
Wow, that's great.
So is this good news for residents?
So
If you could just explain that.
yes. So home values and mill rates work inverse of each other. So as the grand list grows, the mill rate should inversely go down. It does not mean that there's less money coming out of your pocket. It just means that the calculation figure is slightly different. It is 5 years, so unless there is some kind of major construction to the house, or they put on an addition or something like that, the valuation of the home will be the same from now until 5 years from now when we do the next reval. So it balances the tax burden every 5 years is really what it does.
I think the key word is the balance idea, the
Yeah.
fact that some properties appreciate more than others.
Right. Right. I mean, a 44% on increase in residential.
Huge.
It's kind of what you're seeing statewide ever
Really?
since COVID came out in the housing
Is
market.
this over 5 or 6 years?
Since the last reval, yeah.
Which was how many years?
5 years ago, during 2020. So as you're seeing all of the increases in home sales and the values of home sales, that's what is ultimately driving a lot of this, the housing market itself.
But there's three pieces to this, right? Because you have commercial property,
Yep.
motor vehicles, and then residential.
So motor vehicles are
They
set
all-
by, right, and they're set by the new system with the state that
the
they're
new
using.
valuation
Yep.
system for the assessment.
Right, so they're not part of the reval itself.
But it still fits into the mill rate, though.
But it does fit into the mill rate, correct?
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very good. Is that it?
That's all I got.
All right.
So just one thing, Brian.
Yep.
I know we've spoken, there are funds that the town receives for education that are under the jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen. I think excess cost and maybe some others.
Yep.
I think in the past, it's just been kind of a brief review as part of our payments.
Yep.
I know my intention this year is to give those more scrutiny, I think with everything going on. I don't know how the other selectmen feel.
Could you
but-
describe a little more what these payments are that we receive?
Yeah, so excess cost is the monies we receive from the state for special education, above and beyond what we have in our budget. Basically, we budgeted a little over $5 million this year in special ed cost in the Board of Education's budget. We will receive a portion from the state to offset some of those costs. I think this year it's about $290,000-300,000, somewhere around there. It's not a lot, but it's a small percentage.
It's not small either.
It's not right. It's nothing to bat an eye at, but
Material,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
And then there's other money potentially, and again, we're
Right.
still
So
seeing.
this new money, I think it's called a seed grant. It came into effect with this fiscal year. They're basically they use the same ECS formula and gave towns an additional special education funding. The town of Summers is a little over 61,000 that we're receiving, and those monies are being paid 25% in October, 25% in January, and then truing it up in April. The same time frame as the ECS funding. So we should be seeing the first payment within the next 14 days.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
But I guess my reason bringing it up, I think the expectation this year is going to be, at least from me, I'm going to have questions. I'd like to see some
Yep.
information, some data, the superintendent here at the meeting. I have questions.
Yep.
And I don't plan to just improve it as part of a large packet. The item's going to be called out. So I think we should probably communicate that.
Yeah, in other words, we're not going to rubber stamp it. We're going to dig into it and find out what it's for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just don't want to hear that it's high-cost students. I know that.
Right.
But the money could come back to the town. I mean, that's a decision the town makes.
Yep.
As far as how we appropriate it. So
Yep.
I think there needs to be a justification.
All right.
So I think we should probably communicate that just so that.
Oh, yeah, it's important to let him know, and then he can defend himself, you know.
When will we have this information?
I mean, when they begin submitting payments
I
towards
think the
it,
payments
I
are
guess.
like in April. I mean, the seed
Yeah.
money's gonna come soon.
Yeah, the seed money's going to start coming.
I think excess cost comes out in March, is it, or April? No, it's
Usually they start paying them
April,
February-ish.
February.
And then February, March, April through May, they submit payments for the excess cost. So I assume these will kind of be around the same time frame.
We can do them in batches. I mean, I don't think,
Yep.
we don't need to have 6 presentations, but I think
Right.
there needs to at least be one where we
Yep.
talk about some data and things. So
Okay.
if you could maybe communicate it,
Yeah.
just to them that there's going to be that expectation.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then just please make sure you flag and hold the payments just so that they're not part of a bigger batch.
Yeah, I'm actually going to create a separate line item for it so that we can, see it transparently, so we'll be able to mark those, no problem.
Good idea.
So next on the agenda, we have presentation of scheduled payments.
I'm happy to make a motion to authorize the payments in the amount of $216,237.18.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Updates from boards and commissions, we have none. Pending business, we have none. New business, Jen Roy and Brad Pellis here.
You're not going to read this entire report, are you, Jim?
What?
What?
You're not reading the entire report, are you?
We're going to go page by page.
We have break for dinner.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be here till midnight.
Neither do I. No,
you,
that's
Rob.
why, so I've given you all a copy of the draft
Yeah, we
POCD
got that, yeah,
update.
yeah.
Statutorily, every municipality has to update their POCD every 10 years. Ours expired in June. So the Planning Commission met and discussed a path to at least become compliant in the interim until we see what happens with the possibility of combining the Planning and Zoning Commission into one. So rather than partake in an in-depth review, which takes a year or so,
Yep.
we did a brief update and we set it for only 4 years. So that way, if we have a combined commission, they can take that on. So,
I think when you and Brad were presenting this several months ago, you mentioned that the idea was to take it on in chunks at a time.
right,
Not
once,
look at it all at once.
correct.
Do it over several years.
So what we did, and I've given you an extra, this smaller packet that you have
Right.
was a summary of each part of the plan that I reviewed. I went over it and checked what we have accomplished or what we should take out, what should stay in. I sat with Todd Rowland and Joanna Shapiro to go over anything that pertains to their areas. And then the Planning Commission and I went line item by line item. And then our consultants, as Mike D'Amato gave you a memo, incorporated that in this updated our maps, demographics, kind of housekeeping. So that way, if we have a combined planning and zoning commission, then they at least have current information to start working section by section, which is normally what their commissions, P&Z commissions do. They look at certain areas, whether it's an ad hoc committee or the planning and zoning commission, they do it quarterly. So this is just to bring our data up to date and put us in compliance with the statutory requirement.
Is there going to be any effort, just curious, because I was on the Economic Development Commission for 10 years, many years in the past, and we accomplished nothing. And,
Good job.
no, I'm just saying, we accomplished nothing. And it was a frustrating time, to be on that, and just every time we wanted to do something, we were fought every step of the way. And I'm hoping that this plan that looks really good I'm hoping that we can use it to maybe start, bring some businesses into town and to making the grand list grow. And, we've lost, the company I always bring up, and people are tired of me here bring it up, is Conval. I mean, this is a company that was selling things all over the world. Extremely successful company. And guess where they are now? Enfield. Because we refused to allow them to expand across the street. And this is the thing that I really would hope that your plan encompasses. I know it's nice to conserve and develop things, but I really would like to focus on the development of things in the town, and hopefully we can encourage businesses to come into town, and so we can do these things. It would also be nice if we could have some apartments in town, so people didn't, when I was a registrar of voters, we had people that were coming in to me, and they were saying, we're taking our name off the voting list, and I said, why? They said, well, we're moving to Enfield. And I said, why? Well, we're selling our house, and there's no place to live. And I can't tell you how many times I heard that from people. We're selling the house because there's no place to live. No apartments, no small homes. We got a problem.
Yeah. Well, actually, how do I?
If you'd like me, let me touch on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
Well, I was going to also point out how we've changed, there's 2 new things in our zoning for, mixed proximate housing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but I'll let you.
First of all, just because I'm wearing the uniform, let me go on record as saying that nothing I say here represents the fire department or the fire department association. I'm speaking as planning commission.
Thanks for that disclaimer.
We know he got a different hat on.
Okay, just wanted to get on the record with that. We have done some things to create opportunities for smaller, for mixed-use development, for all those sorts of things.
Good.
One of the things that we run into is we develop a plan based on what the commissions and boards see as issues in town. We bring everybody in on that process. We do community outreach. We see what people need. In the end of the day, the big driving factor on home prices and whether or not things are available is the free enterprise system. People are going to come in and get their highest and best use for their land. So, unless you're talking about some sort of government subsidies or tax breaks or other incentives, it's really difficult to drive people to come in and build lower cost housing when the market will bear a higher cost.
Well,
that's the tough hurdle to overcome.
I'm just looking at other towns in the area.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And why have these other towns been able to bring in some of this? You know what I'm saying? And also when it comes to businesses, I look at Ellington and I look at what Stafford's done in the last 10 to 15 years. They're totally different towns. Totally different towns. You look at the number of businesses that have been built and expanded in those towns. It's night and day. And those are the types of things that help improve your grand list. Then that enables you to do a lot more things in town because you have more money. You know what I'm saying? And also, as I said, it also brings people in to the area because now there's a business for them to work in. You know what I mean? And this is serious issues, and that's what I'm talking about.
Right. I understand that. The diversified tax base is critical to the success of any community.
Yeah.
But we also have very small business areas. We have no natural gas line coming into town. We have limited highway access. Ellington has a nice straight shot to 84. Enfield is right on 91. They have major transportation hubs. They have the rail going through there. We kind of have to deal with what we have.
Yeah.
And what our plan should do, and what should happen when it's properly implemented and vetted, is provide the best opportunities we can as a community with the resources we have to accomplish those goals.
I understand that.
Right? And we can't move us next to an area like a highway or bring in natural gas, nor do we necessarily want to move us next to a highway. I mean, there are things about Summers. It's kind of expensive to live here for a reason. One of them is we're not right off of the highway. We don't have smokestack industry. We have, with the exception of the Main Street 83 section, reasonable traffic patterns. You can get to and from work from here.
But Cottonville was not a smokestack industry. They were not a smokestack industry. And these people were building, as I said, things they were selling even to China.
Sure.
And,
No, my dad worked there at one point in time.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I remember when CVS wanted to build a store here, a drugstore here, and people were celebrating because they defeated it. And this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about.
Okay, but let me point out that we take board and community input. We're developing a town for the people who live here.
Exactly.
Right? So when the people who live here say, we don't want a CVS, now it's possible CVS didn't come here because the state wasn't going to give them, they'd have to go with the same traffic pattern that's there, and they needed both direction income for inflow for traffic. I mean, there's that issue for them too. But, when the community is standing up and saying, we would somehow like to try and remain as agrarian as possible. We'd like to have mom and pop shops. We'd like that sort of model. Maybe as the government, as the community leaders, we should be looking more towards how do we bring in the small businesses that can create that sort of, downtown, small town feel. Can you bring in, we're bringing in another coffee shop. Maybe we have enough population for a bike shop. The kinds of things that people have some interest in. I'm sad that Conval went, but that's happened. You can't unring that bell. Right? No, we can take it as a lesson and learn as we develop the plan.
We need to change our tune in this town.
I think we are. I think we are making changes.
And I'm hoping that we're trying to keep the businesses that we have in town. And I hope we're trying to attract, when somebody comes, you'd like to have a conversation where it's a positive thing. And if somebody says, I want to bring in some things and not to radically change the town. I'm not wanting that. I don't want to look like Enfield. I don't want to look like Vernon. But I think we can. There's a happy medium.
The part you're missing, though, Bob, is a town like Summers is very much governed by the people, and just like Brad's saying, the people are saying this is how we want the town. And so but you're comparing them to towns that are governed differently, that the town council decides this is what we take. I mean, you can compare us to a lot of towns. Manchester has spent $53 million on a library. No one wants it in town, but they don't care because they're the council and they make the decisions, not the people. Summers is run by the people.
I lived in Ellington,
and the people don't want big commercial buildings and Home Depots and CVS's on the corners.
Well, also another point is there's not much land available.
Right, and there's not a ton of land available.
Development.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. That's part of the problem.
That's what Brad just talked about.
We can't invent land, though.
So I guess, Brad, can I ask, number one, thank you both for coming down. Thank you for putting this together. I assume tonight this is kind of our first glance at it. I got some reading of my future, and then at a future meeting, we're going to come back for comments, approval, right? I would assume after we've had time to kind of digest. And so I guess I'd ask Bob's question a different way. Who's responsible to implement this?
The Planning Commission.
Well, how?
Oh, not implement. I meant.
I see action items here.
Let me re-answer that question. The Planning Commission is the steward of the document. So we are responsible for the overall creation, development, shepherding the plan through. However, in the development process, a proper plan of conservation and development would have tasks for the zoning or the planning and zoning commission, whichever exists at the time of the approval, that they should accomplish sets of goals and partial steps to get towards what the goal is for areas in their expertise. Economic development should have some checkpoints of these are the things we're looking to do in their arena. These are the early goals that we'd like to see them, the benchmarks we'd like to see them hit.
When do we have those reviews by those organizations?
Well,
Economic Development hasn't looked at this yet, I'm sure.
When the plan is properly developed, right? As we've said, our plan expired
June of 2025.
Right. A little history here. From March of 2023, we have had discussions about forming a proper committee, Selectmen's committee, representing all of the stakeholder committees in the town to develop the plan of conservation and development. That's how we've historically done it. We've brought boards together, come up with a plan, we get public input, we reevaluate the plan based on the public input, we set goals, and it goes out. In terms of the monitoring of the plan, that 25 years ago, that was a staff function where we had more staff available. At this point, it sort of lies fallow. I think one of the things
You mean a town planner? I mean, more staff. We're a very small town. We only have 40 employees.
Right. I'm not looking for you to hire me anymore.
No. But I'm saying, though, we had a town planner. But no, I think it's an important conversation. I think this is some of where, I mean, the thing I hate in government is when we spend a lot of time writing a plan and then it sits on a shelf until it's time to do it in 5 years. And it's like, oh, what's the plan? And no one's looked at it. Like, I see things like, to call out an example, like sidewalks, for instance, right? So I think sidewalks tie to like economic development, right? I think sidewalks tie to, increasing home values and whatever, different things. But who's responsible for it? So, the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, ultimately, I know like our Public Works Director, I know our Finance Director, all these pieces, have to bring forward a proposal, there's studies involved, right? There's prioritization, we had a sidewalk ad hoc committee, but there's a lot of things to tie together here.
There are.
To make it happen.
And you operate with a lot of volunteer boards and commissions. And as someone who's been on this board off and on for 20, 25 years.
Before my time.
My perspective has always been that the boards develop the policy, role when their function is adjudicative, but in terms of the actual implementation of making things happen, of writing and shepherding through regulations, of actually chasing the grants, that's always in my head been a staff function. So, but as a volunteer, I'm not really going to be out chasing grants, or
To that point and like where I'm going, I mean, I think we need to think of new ideas. Like, for instance, the staff are supervised by the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Do we jointly meet twice a year, planning and Board of Selectmen, right? I mean, ideas like that, right? I mean, do we do things like that to keep stuff moving forward? Because then when we develop our budget, when we're talking to, right? These things are incorporated in there.
Right.
Because I hate to feel, I mean, Selectman Schmidt saying, economic development wasn't supported, I mean, it's kind of hard as a bunch of volunteers who have very little, quote-unquote, real power to get stuff done.
I feel what Bob's saying. I mean, there are a number of times in the years that I've been volunteering here and other places that things aren't always going the direction I'd like to see them. Right? That doesn't necessarily mean that was the right way to go, but support them. It would be great to have some sort of oversight system. I think we've talked about having a permanent agenda item where we touch on one of the areas after we have the modern plan in place. I like the idea of the Board of Selectmen actually, I think what you're talking about shows some serious buy-in on the Board of Selectmen for moving forward with the plan. It gives it more credibility and validity for the project. I like the idea. I think.
Well, I read through a lot of what you guys did, and I thought it was very good, and I appreciated it.
But a lot of language you're seeing there that sounds really good. That was the 10-year ago plan.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've updated the demographics in this, we've updated any changes that were in the maps, and we've updated any of the changes in the regulations. So the things that we accomplished in the last 10-year plan aren't showing in here because they were done. They were called out because we did it.
Yeah.
Right? What you're seeing there in terms of goals and plans were the things that we did not accomplish in that last 10-year plan.
Okay.
So, yes, they were good ideas then. Some of them are still good ideas now, or we might have taken them out too.
Some of them were completed. That's why the different.
But yeah, the chart you look at, there's three categories. There's completed, not completed, and frankly not relevant anymore.
Yeah, this is very helpful to have. It really gives you good perspective on it.
We just got this tonight, so we'll.
I understand that you guys haven't had much time to study this.
So maybe we regroup that after the charter question's been voted on, when we see what the future looks like, right? Whether or not we're bringing on board a town administrator, whether or not we're gonna have a combined planning and zoning, and then we kind of work on action together, right?
Right.
To
Well,
move stuff forward.
The purpose of this plan, not having a current plan of conservation and development, there were some concerns about the wind project and their grants and things they were chasing, putting them at a disadvantage for us not having one in place. So the idea of this plan,
Right.
what we have here is a stopgap plan.
Yep.
This is a plan that fills the void as we readjust our government model. Gives people, 10, 15 minutes to take a deep breath, figure out how the new system works, and then start in earnest bringing people together and developing or working.
No, agreed. I think we can approve this plan, but then the implementation is going to be left to these other pieces. But I just don't want to not hear from anyone for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we got to get back together.
I agree.
We approve the plan, and I think then in December we got to get back together and figure things out more.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we.
That's what was discussed with the planning commission and with our consulting
Yeah.
firm, and that's what, they've outlined in their narrative, that's the goal. And to your point, Bob, about promoting development,
Yeah,
having this in place, updated and valid rather than expired, as Brad said, any developer needs, they look about, that's why we also did the affordable housing plan.
Yeah.
So, I just came in when the first plan was adopted,
Yeah.
and Jeff Board was doing it in 2015. And I know that they did do an extensive one back then, but then it wasn't visited on a regular basis. And then it wasn't until 2021 when we did an extensive rewrite of the zoning regs, and then subsequently a developer in town did 2 text amendments to make the mixed housing and mixed proximate housing and the Eleanor Road division. So there's been little things, but the goal of the planning commission is that this will be front and center when they if they combine. I mean, if they don't combine, it'll be the planning commission. And I'm sorry, when you said implement, I thought you meant adoption.
No, there's two things.
Okay, so the adoption is for the planning commission adopts this after a public hearing. They going to have a public hearing in December. It's a referral to the Board of Selectmen, and then you can either hold your own public hearing or at least, to provide comments back that I would share with the planning commission to implement changes in here if you have suggestions.
good.
Well, I think a point that Brad made is really important to put this in the time frame, and that is that because of the wind development project, in order for them to be competitive and trying to seek support from the state for funding for that project, it behoove the town to have an updated POCD in place. And that's why we're pushing this right now.
Yeah.
And it'd be helpful to get it done and agreed to by the end of December.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because their application is in January,
So what do we need to do? We don't need to approve this plan then?
not tonight.
It just needs to be referred to us.
And
We
you-
have the opportunity to hold a public hearing if we choose. The planning commission is going to hold their own public hearing, which we could attend,
Right.
and then you would adopt it. We would not adopt it, you would adopt it?
I hope you're going to implement it.
But of course, I have read through
One
parts
step
of,
at a time, Bill. One step at a time.
I have read through parts of this, and it definitely needs to be updated. Just some of the language they're using is, first, they're talking about our getting energy from Connecticut Light and Power,
Right.
and that's 35 years ago.
Yeah, there's a few things that have to be
It
fixed.
talks about the plan development district is something that might be a good idea. It might be helpful
It is
to
a
mention
fact.
in here that we
We have it.
do have one and when it
Right.
was put in place. But anyway, there's things like that. I've talked to Jennifer about some
Yeah.
of this, and we'll be speaking to her more in the future. But those are some improvements that I think we could just readily make.
And I would assume,
Improve the quality of what we've got.
and I would assume there's things we could try to do with utilities. I mean, for instance, they ran a water main right down 190, right? But it's not tied into our homes. But it could be. If we had a commercial development, right, I mean, you could tie into water. I mean, there's things there that have changed even recently.
Yes.
I mean, other utilities.
What about the natural gas line? I mean, it mentions in here that there's a line that goes from Enfield to Stafford.
So what, there's a line.
It
through-
talks about that.
It talks about there's the concept of putting one in, but it hasn't been done yet.
No, but
Nothing
we
has
talked
come
about
in.
that.
But they put water, though. They put water up.
Water is the hill
all the way up
for pressure,
190.
but, yeah, there's no gas in Summers other than
The prison.
Enfield to the prison, which is
But they've been talking about bringing that gas into Summersville for I don't know how many years.
The impression I got from the officers is that if Summers wants to pay for it, they'd be happy to do it, but they don't think there's enough demand in this town to make it
Well, this is what I've
economically
been
viable for them, unless
hearing that.
it's going to the hospital or some big.
Some major customer is going to sign a long-term contract.
I've been hearing that song for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you.
Thank you for your time and good job.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Right, so we're hopefully going to meet, just as a little timeline, our regular meeting in November and schedule a public hearing for December. So if you do have any
Comments?
feedback, comments, statements, you want to, I suppose, email it. I don't know if there has to be a formal procedure, but get it to me. I'll get it to the
Unless the
consultant.
statute requires one, I'm happy with them giving you what they want to say to us.
And I can have our-
They're comfortable
Yeah.
with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
Thank you
down.
very much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the teen center relocation capital project at Cox.
Thank you again, all of you, for the extreme honor.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well deserved.
Very humbling, thank you.
Welcome.
So today,
It might be helpful just to put in context, Brian, why we're having this presentation made today. Because of the fact that you had heard about during the Hartford Foundation,
Right, so we,
grants have been,
right, so any project in town over $5,000 is considered a capital project, and the capital project process starts with the Board of Selectmen to approve the capital project, moves on to CIP for, they scrutinize the project, determine if it's one they want to support, and it's ultimately sent on to the Board of Finance for the final stamp. If any funding is required from the town, they then, appropriate it or incorporate it into a future budget, one or the other. I got a phone call 3 weeks ago or so from the Hartford Foundation asking if I would be the fiscal sponsor for these grants that were being recommended. At the time, I had not even heard of the grants, so I didn't know that there were requests being made or that any projects were being considered.
So town departments make grant requests without your knowledge?
Yes.
I think also they were approved by that, as I recall.
Ultimately, they were all approved.
Yeah, and-
And since then, we've received the funding, and it's sitting in liability accounts waiting
Right.
for disbursement.
But they also stated that in the future, what they want is they want the town to be the applicant.
Yeah, so they,
To-
and they are
to
changing.
sign the
More
application.
credence
Right.
to the
And they're changing
request.
the process,
So
from my
the town's behind
understanding.
it.
From my understanding, they're changing the process going forward, and they're, it'll be, rather than different departments within the town of Summers applying for different grants, and on paper, it looks like the town of Summers received, $37,000 in grants when you're only supposed to get $10,000. They're looking to change the process as well at the Hartford
I
Foundation
mean, I
as
think
well.
this isn't how I want to start this, because it looks like a great program, and I'm excited to hear about it, but
Yeah.
I think just as a bigger picture, I mean, that's very concerning that town departments are applying for funding without the knowledge of the first selectman's office and the finance office. I think it's probably illegal.
Yeah.
And I think even for other grants, if somebody applied for United Way, if someone applied
Right.
for, I mean, it all needs to be coordinated through town hall, the first selectman's office, and,
I think the bottom line is, I think there's a more effective process.
Yes.
It will help everybody.
So three of them were
All
town
votes.
departments. One of them was, and the fourth one was the volunteer firefighters submitted their own as well.
but they're a separate legal entity. They have to check.
But the town is required to be the fiscal recipient of the monies, and anything they would purchase would become an asset of the town as
So
well.
we need to work together as a team.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
And
I
that's the
thought that
same
they
thing
had
on
learned
down
from
the
the
left.
sign.
From the sign.
I thought they had learned from that. They didn't learn from that. either.
We have to put a policy
That's all right.
on this.
I still want to hear.
We have one.
Yeah.
There is a
We have
policy.
financial policies in place on all of this, on the processes and procedures of all of it. And,
Okay.
Well, again, not how I wanted to start. Welcome.
No, I think that was important to
Put it to the
backdrop, to hear,
Yes.
understand where this fits in and what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you.
So thank you. So again, Matthew Cox, Director of Human Services, and my colleague Jen Grigger is our Youth Services Coordinator. Just to briefly address the piece about kind of getting some pre-vetting through the Board of Selectmen or other groups, we just weren't aware of it. We'd received money a couple times from the foundation, and so we just weren't aware of that. And so now we are. So we're happy to follow whatever the town recommends for us to do.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. And so you
We'll work
also
together, and that's
no, definitely.
we're stronger together, obviously.
Definitely. Now, the Hartford Foundation, we're also the group that provided the seed funding for the Teen Center a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And so they had reached back to us and encouraged us to apply to further expand and just continue the work of the Teen Center, having heard how it's going in the community. And so Jen is as of about a year ago, our new Youth Services Coordinator. And
So you're a photographer too here?
she is one of the photographers, yes.
A lot of
Yes,
kids
it
now.
is. Oh my gosh, it is so much fun. It was fun in the teen room before we moved. It's just wonderful. Really, really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
it looks like you got some great ideas here.
yeah, no, Jen is very creative. Ariana too. And then, of course, the folks at the library. So it's good. It's going really well. So Jen, maybe do you want to talk a little bit about like how
How it started.
and how it's turned out?
So I started my job September 30th, and then I started the Teen Center 2 weeks later with Ariana. So it really had already been preset, and I just walked in. So in the beginning, we started with a couple of, 2, 3 kids, and then probably by 3 weeks in, we had about 20 to 25 kids a day. So they were consistently coming back. We offered activities, we were engaging them, learning what they liked. So we started creating activities based on, what they wanted to say. And then ultimately, I'm probably jumping forward, ultimately they became the leaders of the activities. We found that there were sort of patterns. So we made our team, like the calendar that we made. So we made Mondays teen cuisine, Tuesdays were survival skills, which is kind of DIY stuff, not burning things down. And Wednesday was game masters, and then for afternoons on Thursday, which the librarians do Thursday and Friday. And then Friday was a free day. So that brings us to the Hartford Foundation grant. So
Right.
we were encouraged to apply. So we applied for $10,000, $5,000 being to bolster up the teen cuisine, since it was our most popular program. We just needed more appliances,
So you're asking for
supplies.
$7,000?
We were asking for $10,000, $5,000 to build up the teen cuisine program, and then $5,000 to do an outdoor seating area, which if you were looking at the library, it was to the right, that grassy area.
This is from the Hartford Foundation.
Yes. Ultimately, we were awarded $7,000. So we plan to scale back proportionately and really focus on expanding our teen cuisine. So those things included like a dishwasher, small refrigerator, a new kitchen faucet, a sink. They're pretty tiny there,
Where are you putting all
skill
these
building.
things?
What?
Where are you putting all these things?
In
This
half.
equipment.
So in the Blake room, so that's another piece. We were in
Right.
that teen room inside the library. When you have 25 kids, it was just
Yeah,
on
we
top of
understand
each
that.
other.
You were telling us that.
So we asked to use the Blake room, and so it really gave us extra space. And they have a small kitchenette.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
yeah, so these were ideas to try to, build more skills, being able to cook, they're learning to measure. They're trying new recipes. Everything's typically from scratch, but it's really just kind of offering them healthy snack options and then learning how to make them. So
One of the coolest things to me is that the kids choose the kind of food, they create the shopping list, the budget, and then they teach their mates at the teen center how to do it, so they actually lead the activity. One was crepes. You've had different kinds of salsas.
We had corn muffins. I'm not sure what pictures. I kind of forget. We had naan, and I think the corn muffins are on the picture on the front page.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids that had never tried some of these things, certainly never made them, but had never even tried them.
Yeah, 'cause they're in the
Like,
junk
these
food.
are good. And then, so the moms, there was one mom that came in and goes, "You tried it?" And her son's like, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want to make it at home?" He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's great.
So it's really kind of expanding their world in a lot of ways. So that's the teen cuisine part. We're also working with a master's student in nutritional sciences. So she starts actually Monday, and she's going to be working with us to provide nutritional values and like healthy option recipes. And at the end, we're going to put together all of our recipes and do like publish a recipe book for the kids to take home, but also we can offer it free to like the senior center. They're simple meals. They're simple, proportioned down sizes. Nothing that requires, crazy
Well, I'm glad
equipment.
that you're teaching these kids how to do some of this stuff.
Thank you.
Well, the number of kids who have never vacuumed, who don't know how to wash dishes, how to use a measuring cup.
Oh, yeah.
It's really surprising.
Oh, that's why my wife insisted that my kids learn that stuff when they were in our house, because they had to learn that stuff.
So we saw from the kids that we were working with last year until this year, they've obviously carried over the skills, but now we see the new 6th graders and we're like, okay, start over. But, we can see behavioral changes. We can see skills building,
That's good.
building, and then they help their peers. So all of this is really having an impact, a positive impact.
So with regards to your budget, what happens to the money that you don't get that you ask for?
We'll just scale the project down.
Oh, okay.
We'll just scale it back.
No, I think you got great ideas here. This is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I think using in kind, it looks like it's a match. In kind. I saw the number initially. I said, "Whoa!" And then I looked at it. It looks like you're using in kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a number of local businesses, this is the most fun thing to me, is getting parents and business owners to come in and help co-teach or lead certain things.
Why not?
The police department has been there with the K-9 unit. We've had someone demonstrating CPR.
Yeah, the fire department came with all their
The trucks and
the
stuff.
different trucks, and let the kids get on and showed them inside all of the doors, and they spray the water.
That's good.
It was a really
With a
great
local bakery
experience.
that's going to come and work with the kids one day to make cupcakes.
Well, that's important.
Just today, we had a business offer to do, the kids would have to go to her, but to teach them how to do, yeah, basically.
What was that?
Screen printing, like
Oh,
make your own t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
But they would design it,
Oh, that's cool.
like, they would learn the whole process,
Yeah.
like either embroidery or screen printing,
Well, that's
and she was just like, I love to teach this.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you guys, it's great to have local businesses
I don't know
want
what
to be
happened,
involved.
but, years ago when I was a teacher, we used to have home economic classes. And, they changed the name of it. But, the thing is, we had these people on the Board of Education where I used to work, and they were sitting there screaming hysterically because they were teaching the kids, how to cook. It's like, why are you yelling at this teacher for teaching people how to cook, how to sew, and all these things that are stuff that you do in a house, on a regular basis. And so we were able to overcome that, and it was really good because these are common sense things that people have to know how to do. And so I'm glad you're doing these things with these kids, because a lot of parents, they're not teaching their kids these things. And so it's very, very important that you guys are doing it, and hopefully by enlightening them, they'll enlighten some of their fellow classmates, and they'll share these things, and hopefully it will expand.
Well, if you look on the second page, we were teaching sewing this week for survival skills. And they were making ugly dolls. And let me tell you how popular that was. There's a couple examples. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to do it the next day too, because the first day wasn't enough. So.
That's great. That's great.
So this has all been in front of the library board. I mean, they've approved all of this. They're fine with the move. There's no MOU right now between us and the library, or no?
No, but we probably need to do that.
It's not a bad idea, just to, in
Well,
case staff change, we have a new
We
person.
work with them, like they're doing half of the, or
Yeah, but it's essentially like
Couple
a
of days.
landlord-tenant relationship,
Yes.
because they're kind of a separate entity in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, they are somewhat
work with
under our
you.
control, but they have their own board as well, so.
Right.
I'd
No,
also
they
make
accepted.
sure
We proposed to them first.
But you know how to work with them as a team, and you'll do it.
I'd also
Go
make
ahead,
sure
Billy.
that like all of the appliances that you're looking at and so forth meet, the building code. Make
Right,
sure
we're
the
not
building
going to just
inspector
buy
can-
these
Yeah.
right
You
off.
have to buy
We have
commercial
to-
quality.
commercial
Yeah,
quality,
you can't buy like a $100 microwave.
And if we can't, then we won't. Like, we'll figure it out.
Well, they're just $250 microwaves, that's all.
Yeah, instead of 100. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we end up buying them at the schools. No, so I would just say, I mean, what Em was saying, I drive my kids around sometimes, sometimes they're friends, and, whenever I have them in the car, I kind of have their attention for 10 minutes, right, because I can't jump out while I'm driving. So I poll them and ask them questions, and I've asked a few groups, what do you think of the teen center? And they say, yeah, it's really fun. So I guess if you can get that out of a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, it's pretty good. You can't usually get much, but I've heard really great feedback on it. I've had great feedback from parents. I've heard great feedback from the teens that I've spoken to. So nice work. I think this is
Fantastic.
great.
Thanks.
And keep going.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you, folks.
Recommended to CIP,
Yeah.
What's the dollar amount we're approving?
7,000.
Yeah.
Right, 7,000.
7,000.
Matt, $7,000.
$7,000.
Jen?
Matthew, 7,000?
7,000, yes.
So I'd make a motion to approve the CIP request from the Human Services Department for $7,000 for the Summers Teen Center relocation funded by the Hartford Foundation, and to recommend it to the CIP committee.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave McCaffrey, Sherry Marquis. Summers Veteran Memorial Park and Healing Garden.
Oh, I'm going to get them.
We don't have any music for you guys,
I don't want to sing you.
since you're playing musical chairs.
Thank you.
Anybody need the apple stretch?
No, I'm okay, thank you. If I do,
I
I'll
hear
just,
your stomach growling.
if I do, I'll just stand up and walk around. Don't take it personal, okay?
Oh, I won't. Sometimes I have to do that. So.
Jerry, could you help me, the handicapped, on this project? Because I know where you told us in the descriptions of where.
I'm going to read a little narrative.
Good.
So,
Let's
just so I
hear
know,
that.
Overview, so.
Let's hear that first.
yeah, just so I have an idea
That's what we like.
where
Before we have any
exactly this is
questions.
gonna be.
You leave here, you are going to have a wealth of information, more than probably you want.
All right, okay. Well, nothing.
All right, so, and also, before I start, I just wanted to reiterate in my other hat as elections director, early voting starts Monday. So, 10 to 6, so it's going to be every day from October 20th through November 2nd, 10 to 6 every day, including Saturday and Sundays, here in the lower conference room. And also on the 28th and 30th, it will be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I just wanted to pass that out before, of course, Election Day on November 4th.
Dave, what percent of our voters voted during early voting last time? It's a high percentage, right?
Very high.
We actually had a higher turnout for early voters than we did for regular voters. So Unfortunately, I don't have the number at hand,
Just
but
off the top of your head, no, okay, but it was high.
it was a high, very high number. So
That's good.
no, it's very good. We were very high in the state, and because of that, we were awarded a higher election grant for this coming election. So we just got approval from the state for $8,900 that Brian should be receiving.
How much of your costs does the election grant cover?
It's primarily going to be covering the staffing for the early voting. So
What percentage?
how much of the grant is going to cover?
No, how much of the grant, how much of the overall cost does the grant make up? That kind of puts it in perspective. You're talking about us getting a grant from the state. Well, how much?
Maybe
They're requiring us to do this.
maybe 50%.
Let's say we spent, what, 20,000 or so for
Yeah.
election
So
day?
unfortunately,
The early voting?
normally before we had early voting, we only had to have 20 employees
On election day.
for election day for this type of election. And now, because of the early voting requirement, 14 days, 4 people, per shift, 2 different shifts. So we're talking about 185 positions. So substantially a higher number, unfortunately. But we're mandated by the state to do that. So
Unfunded mandate, yes.
unfunded mandate.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So anyways, thank you very much for allowing us to be here. My name is Dave McCaffrey. I'm the Director of Veterans Affairs, and I have my colleague, Deputy Director Sherry Marquis. And good evening. So tonight's item is an informational briefing only. We're not asking for a vote, formal acceptance, or a resolution. The documents you presently have in your packet reflect our initial understanding of the approval sequence based upon the direction by CFO Brian Wissinger. Following a clarifying meeting with the Land Use Director, Todd Rowland, yesterday, we have amended our approach to align with the summer's standard practices as follows. First, share the concept direction and the intent to form a volunteer member ad hoc committee consisting of Summers military with some Summers residents, and also with the Director of Land Use, Todd Rowland, serving as the town liaison, and he has accepted that. Second, obtain a professional conceptual rendering, which is already in the works. And third, return with a planning and zoning referral under statute 8-24 and any formal actions that may be appropriate at that time. So we respectfully request 2 things this evening. One, acknowledgement that this is an informational briefing with the intent to form a volunteer 7-member ad hoc committee with the veterans and the community serving along with the with our Department of Veterans Affairs staff, myself and Sherry Marquis, as a standing member to ensure continuity, oversight, and alignment with veterans' priorities, and with the Land Use Director as a non-voting consultant and town liaison. And 2, staff assistance to provide a visual of the agreed-upon area, GIS mapping and relevant land records, and to advise of any feasible alternative locations that can be considered along with pros and cons. We have, when we first requested this grant through the Hartford Foundation, we had met with Director Rowland on several occasions and to identify potential locations, and have met with him several times, more than half a dozen times over the last year. Regarding funding, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving Grant provides $10,000 with a 1-year spend requirement. The CFO asked us to present an approved plan within 90 days or risk having to return the funds. Before using the grant for a conceptual rendering, last night we submitted a written request to the foundation to permit this use or to amend the scope. We will not expend grant funds on design unless and until we receive the grantor's written approval. If design use is not permitted, we will pursue donated pro bono rendering or community support and reserve the grant for construction phase work consistent with the original scope. Our goal is to steady, transparent progress. And share the vision, assemble the right committee, develop a professional concept, and to bring forward the appropriate actions in sequence. We appreciate your guidance tonight, and we look forward to returning with the conceptual plan. So
what are you asking us to do tonight?
So we want to get your acknowledgement, that about our plan to form a committee. And we have spoken with several veterans already who are willing to serve on the committee, but we want to get a listing together to identify who those veterans are, what their background is, and to help, formulate the proposal and, what our vision is and what the vision is of the community and the veterans. Sure, do you want to?
One of the key actions that we need from you all this evening is acknowledgement of the project, because that you didn't have acknowledgement when we submitted the grant, and to move forward with the concept having a rendition completed, because we actually had that in progress, but it's not in completion, and of course we didn't have funds for that. We were relying on possibly having it done with someone donating their time to do that, or possibly donations. And we also wanted to have your acknowledgement that we were forming a ad hoc committee regarding this project, so that we had some synergy taking place in the town between our military and our residents, because it benefits the entire community, and with also the kind gesture on Todd Rollins' part, with everything that he has to do is to sit in as a member from the town to help us move forward with the project with his knowledge base that he has. We have a short. You have a slide presentation which will go into where the park is located and what our vision is. But did I answer your question, Selectman Keeney?
I think so. Yeah.
Well,
why don't you join in this?
I was just trying to figure out, because it was down. It's in the park there, down near the old school, right?
Right. So I'll give you.
If you could just kind of help me, Dave. Help me the handicap. Where exactly is it, guys?
All right. So here's the map from our GIS mapping system. Right. So this is a broad overview of the Somersville Mill area, and there's the former Somersville Grammar School, right?
Yeah, and where's the park is next to the they just
here's the waterway here. Yeah, so here's a blow-up of that now on the second screen. So here's the driveway that goes around the school. Here's the old playground, the new playground, and this is the proposed Veterans Park here.
Okay.
Okay, and so the soccer.
Where's the boat launch?
The boat launch is actually right here in another section that's under the property.
Okay.
The mill area. So the mill area that has the community gazebo and the mill pond area is actually this separate section here.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that.
So this is just along the southern edge of the soccer fields that are out there. So it doesn't interfere with the soccer field area, and we've measured it. And it's roughly a half an acre.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what the size.
So this is just a general idea. I mean, that's definitely not going to be totally what it looks like, but that's kind of like a vision is what we're looking here. So
that helps me the handicap, because I was just having a hard time visualizing where it was. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
If I may, Dave and Sherry approached me several years ago with an idea for a veterans park somewhere in Summers, and I said that's a great idea. At the time, I think he said Home Depot was giving money to something. That's where the kernel the idea came from. We actually looked at the south side of the mill property. We walked it as a potential site. Again, very high level conceptual. Doesn't seem very appropriate. The slope there isn't very appropriate, and then the idea kind of died for a while, and then a year, 18 months ago, you kind of brought the idea back, and I said, yes, you suggested the mill by the grammar school. I said, that could work. It's flat. It's an area where, frankly, veterans hang out. A lot of veterans hang out in this already, so that's a possibility. They asked for time yesterday. We met yesterday and discussed all of this. I learned that the Hartford grant which was done improperly like the other departments did. And my suggestion, actually, they already had the suggestion that they should form an ad hoc committee. I said that's a good idea. The idea of the location, the scope of this, it's an idea. We're still at step one.
But we'll fit there. It is feasible?
I've said this several times, we need to bring in a design professional, architect or somebody
Okay.
that does this, that lives in that world,
Okay.
that can guide us
Okay.
to say, what scope of a veterans park would work and is that the best place? We have to look at everything.
Okay.
Maybe it's not, maybe it is, but we need people that do this and know what they're doing.
Right.
This is this rendering is dramatic, it's large. It would be a wonderful piece if that could be, if that could happen, but that may not happen in Summers. That's a big list for us, for what we have constraints.
Yeah,
This just gave you a flavor, that's all. It was.
When I saw the picture, I said, I didn't know how it was going to fit there. I guess that was my initial thing.
My suggestion was come here tonight and update the board about the goings-on. Suggest that you're going to go back and look at volunteers that would staff an ad hoc committee, and I agreed to be a town liaison for an ad hoc committee, come back to this board and ask to form an ad hoc committee to look at a veterans park in Summers. What would that look like? Where would it be? Those questions still haven't been answered.
Okay, all right.
None of that has been answered.
And
It's still very much an idea.
The funding would also be involved, where you're getting the funding to.
Yeah. So the grant, of course, the Hartford Foundation grants, operate up to 10,000. We requested 10,000 just for the initialization. Really, we knew that was just going to be a complete drop in the bucket.
Did you get the grant?
We did.
Okay, you got the grant.
We got 10,000 from Hartford Foundation, and we provided all the documentation to after Brian said that we hadn't followed the normal procedure. And frankly, I didn't realize that there was a set procedure because we had applied for grants in the past, and that had never been asked of us. So now I know, so we know for the future. And so this particular grant, just like I said, it's just really for the initial. If we even can get that far to the the process, the design, possibly a groundbreaking, but that's just a drop in the bucket. The cost of the overall park would be met by, donations, basically in kind, from corporate sponsors and from, the public. For buy a brick and whatnot. So
what do you think the total cost would be?
We don't. This is an idea.
No.
No idea.
Okay, I just didn't know.
This is step one. We are way too premature to even talk about costs or anything like that. We need to talk to design professionals that do this in towns like Summers that can guide us.
Okay.
Give some ideas on what these things really cost. It could be $1 million. How big you want? I mean, and is that realistic for fundraising? No.
Okay.
Would this be something we go for a grant with? Maybe. It's just, we're at step one. I think this is.
Yeah, are there other areas that might be considered? It's town property.
I've had people ask me about Kibbe Fuller, the front there. It's a pretty busy area. I don't know it wouldn't be very quiet. Other people have suggested in front of Battle Street Cemetery, there's a flat area there.
Cemetery.
There's a potential. The cemetery committee's pretty adamant about not building anything in there because eventually we'll fill the cemetery.
Yeah.
We'll be dead by then, but, are there any other really realistic town properties? Nothing comes to mind that would be big enough, have a quiet area, not a lot of traffic, has parking, has access. You have to look at all of those things.
And we actually, Todd and I and Sherry, over the course of the past year, we've actually gone to site visit and locations to see what would work and what wouldn't work. And so right now, this seemed the most feasible. And of course, when we started this, there was no discussion of that middle park being put in there, that the Angels play.
It's already been there now, yeah.
But when we initially started this, that was not there. That was not even.
Right. Well, that's why I was asking, because
but there was a separation. There's a separation between that, the considerable separation, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Well, that, and we have to look, it's used as a junior soccer field by the soccer association. Spring and fall, they use it all the time, so there are those fields there as well. So you have to look at all of that.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near
there's
ready to do
a lot here. I mean,
What are your thoughts for an ad hoc committee? I mean,
I think that's the best, the
what
best
kinds of
foot
people do
forward.
you want on it?
Well, we want people that would have some kind of design experience. We want veterans represented. We want potentially people with fundraising experience, maybe real estate people, but it would depend on who we can get. I mean, it's another volunteer committee, and we're probably going to reach out to a lot of people that say yes. But again, like your Brad Pellis here, he's on, 12 committees?
I mean, how much did we raise for the splash pad?
$184,000.
That was,
and $100,000 of that was a private donation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
84,000.
84,000 from small donations.
and then but that wasn't enough to pay for
No,
it.
that did
We
not.
pulled a lot of money out of it.
Pulled a lot of money out of the town for that.
We pulled $125,000 out of the rec fund to finish
But I
it.
mean, that was,
We would have formed an ad hoc committee with using fair estimates, and when costs came in to relook at everything, that was done before we had a lot of these rules, frankly.
yeah, but I point that out. I mean, that was a huge effort with
It was.
$100,000 to anchor it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that still required a huge amount of, essentially taxpayer money. I know we use the rec fund, but I mean, that money would have been available for other
Somewhere
uses.
else, opportunity cost, yes.
I mean,
Yep.
this
That's
is
why
tough.
this is an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's a 5-year process
Right.
with CIP. I mean, we're planning out,
Yeah.
I mean,
We understand you're just in the beginning stages, but now I understand it, and you've given me a better vision.
My advice is, go back, we'll find volunteers that are willing to put in the time, meet once a month. We'll bring those names back to this board to officially seat an ad hoc committee and start that process. That's probably going to be.
I mean, the question I have, though, is, we have this $10,000 grant award. I mean, there's a 1-year deadline on it. I know that they're not
October 5th or
super on deliverables. I mean, it's not, but I
would go back to them and ask if we can change the award to design work, because that'll have to be paid for at some point. I
That's
don't
a
know
good
how
idea.
they would feel about
Good
that.
idea.
We took action on that right away when I recommended that, and as soon as we left the meeting with him, we shot after we drafted it, to
I've
the
heard the
foundation.
Greater Hartford Foundation is flexible and
Yes,
that's
we
positive.
send that out. So
That's a good idea.
I think the fear, though, I guess the fear I would have, and I know just like going through this with HVAC, we did a lot of design work there, and then a lot of it didn't pan out, you know, and I just.
Well, no, I don't want to spend years in design, but we don't have anything to talk
Well, I
about.
don't want to spend money, though, and then not
Have it come to fruition.
have anything. Maybe we just look at something really small, something gravel, something.
First of all, let me just suggest that you might look at what some other towns have done.
Good point.
Because I'm very familiar with the one that was built in Meriden.
Yep, we've had several veterans that have come to the office and made recommendations of, make sure you go.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Right, so, no, we're not looking to do that, but, I think it'd be a very positive thing for the community, not only for the veteran side of the house, but just for the general public, because really, in town, there's not any formal park, per se, and this would have not just like that type of flavor, but, we're talking like, park benches and
I understand Pelican has a pretty decent.
of our
We checked with them.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
if we see an ad hoc committee that have something official, which an ad hoc committee would be,
Right.
we'll reach out to the other area directors, towns that have these parks that have built them, and ask them for their feedback.
Yeah.
We have a directors meeting once a
And
month.
as far as funding goes, you might also ask, how'd you raise money? Because
pay for it?
I know the one in Meriden, most of it was paid for by the state. You came up with a good idea, they'll go.
So,
Yeah.
there are some possibilities for that too, and we've had some various discussions, and the state does have some type of funding for that. But, this would also be to recognize those veterans that are from Summers and what areas that they served in, because potentially we would be able to have monuments erected like so many other towns, right?
No, I'm not opposed to the idea. I just think this is.
That's what we're looking at, that's what we're,
But I think that,
Put the horse way in.
way up front. And the fact that when these projects start to get off the ground a little bit, and say you raise $50,000, to raise more money past that, then people want to come back to the town and say, well, we need $150,000 to get our plan. My answer is probably not. We probably can't afford it. We don't have fund balance right now. We've raised tax quite a bit. It's the question of, do we cut a teacher? Do we cut some town staff?
We can come back and ask for money.
So, it's just hard
Other
for
than
that.
kind, yeah.
But even like the water park, which we had a lot of support for, we raised a lot of money for,
Yeah.
we still needed a lot of money from the town
Oh, yeah.
to make it happen. Plus a lot of in-kind service.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay.
So the goal right now is to reach out to the community members, find out who's willing to serve, that was well fit, 97-member board, come back to this body and ask us.
We're going to need to have some really tight guidelines around what the charge of the committee is, what the authority and scope is, I think it needs to be really well defined, because I don't want people coming back with $1 million proposal unless they have a state bond on, something
I
that's.
don't think Dave's coming back for $1 million.
We have a draft letter already started to find out who would be interested. We actually have some pretty.
You're going to get some interest, no question.
Right. We have some.
We have some veterans, some.
But my question would be is we talked about this, is that would that committee have to be appointed?
Yeah.
Yes, it would, yes.
Reports to the board of selectmen.
Yes, make sure it's appointed and everybody's aware of it.
Oh, yeah, so what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll identify who those veterans that are willing to be on the board are, what their background is, and what they can bring to the committee.
We're going to need a scope of what the committee is going to do, and maybe it's to identify a site, maybe it's to identify a concept design, maybe it's to recommend, but we needs to be.
We'll have it all delineated.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Do we need a motion to accept the $10,000?
Yes.
I don't think we can, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because honestly, we may lose that money. just
Yeah, you might
because
lose it and you might ask for more.
The time scale of getting this going, what is it 90 days that
No, 90 days is my deadline.
Okay.
It's actually 1 year. 1 year. So you have basically until October 1 of 26
we don't even know which.
to expend the money.
I think that's the fear is.
Right. I mean, you can take 6 months to just get through the design work of, and how quickly are you going to, $10,000 you can spend pretty quick.
I think you need to feel out the funder's appetite to make a major modification of the proposal. And if the funder.
But we had to start somewhere in that. This was the amount that the Hartford Foundation,
This is where they're started before we ever write the Hartford Foundation.
Yeah.
So you're thinking they may donate more money
No, they will max out at 10,000.
They will we got the max award.
for the one project?
For the one project.
We did.
You could just do it towards design and then
Right.
That's the question to them.
We looked into the community investment fund, but we found that Summers is, and also urban development and those grants are not available to us because of our economic situation. So that's sort of, we fell short there because we thought we would get some more grant funds.
All right, well.
You almost need to look at like technical assistance, like Hartford Foundation has that for like other, from like the VA, from the state, from some of these funders that could actually build that. Because I don't know how we would build something.
That's just a rendering, just to give you kind of like an idea in your head. That's not, what we're looking at. So.
That's our dream.
That looks like it's, like the Vietnam
Like that,
Memorial, like the National Mall. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It reminds me of something that would be in like the capital of the United States.
Right?
On the river itself.
So,
Okay. Well,
all right.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
Thanks very much.
Let's do the minutes.
Yeah, let's do it. Last on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the October 2nd, 2025 regular meeting of the board.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, we're adjourned.
That would be a short.
I did too. That's what I told my wife. It would be short.
There were 3 long items. It's all good.